Okay, I'm Clay Herrmann with Hot Springs Daily, and I'm visiting with Gene Haley, who is the Garland County Election Commissioner. And Gene, what I'd like you to start off doing, if you don't mind, just tell us something about yourself. Something about, were you born here?
Okay, yes, I was born and raised in Garland County. I built a home about a quarter mile from where I grew up, so I can actually see the house I grew up in from where I live now.
And something about your career, your work history,
I've been in
where you've lived?
business and retail all of my life. I left Arkansas and went to Texas for about 25 years and came back about 15 years ago, semi-retired. Continued it. I was in the income tax business for the last 10 years and retired from that and became an election commissioner.
And tell us how that happened that you became the election commissioner.
Well, I've always worked the polls as an election official on election day. And when I found out that there was a need for additional commissioners, I investigated how to do it. And the Arkansas state law requires the majority party, which in this case is Republican, to elect 2 commissioners, and the Democratic Party, which is a minority party, to elect 1. In the past, it's always been just reversed, where there were 2 Democrats and 1 Republican on the election commission. So each county has 3 election commissioners elected by the county political parties.
And I'll just say, in my experience with interacting with the election commissioners, you and everyone on your staff, that I've been extremely impressed with how well you all get along with each other and work together.
Well, it's kind of a thankless job, so you have to try to get along, and we all have the same goal, and that's to conduct fair and good elections.
Okay. This year, we have something new that came up, and Garland County was one of, was it 4 counties?
Correct.
Out of the 75 in the
Correct.
state of Arkansas that worked as, I don't know if the term beta tester would be correct or not for the new machines, but
Yeah, that's accurate.
tell us about that.
Well, the state originally was going to do 3 counties, and we lobbied to get Garland County included because we had a severe lack of equipment based on some counties bought additional equipment through the years, and the state was basically replacing the equipment, the same number of machines that a county had, and we successfully lobbied to get additional equipment for Garland County. What changed was new equipment. We also went to vote centers where anybody can vote in any open location on election day instead of going to their precinct or their normal polling place. So if you lived out in the county and you worked in town, you could vote anywhere.
And I take it that's never before been the case, never?
Never before. We could not do it because we didn't have, it's called an electronic poll book. It's a poll book that has 62,000 registered voters in Garland County are in this poll book. And each polling location, if a person votes in one, all the other polling locations know that they did vote. Before
the primary election this year in the spring, I forgot the date of it, what was it?
March the 1st.
March the 1st. You and the other election commissioners and others in your team working here went to a number of groups and did demos of the new machines. And
Correct.
I saw, I was at, I think 3 of those demos that you did. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience, how that went?
We did 6 demos, and the purpose of those were the equipment was brand new, and we wanted to show as many people as we could how the equipment operated, hopefully to make things run smoother during an election. Pretty much anybody that would invite us, we would go. Unfortunately, when it came time to test the equipment for the election, we had to lock it down, and we could not continue doing demonstrations. But now that this election is over, we can start that up again.
Oh, I thought maybe you would consider that there's no need to do that from here on, but you
I
may
think there's
offer
always
that.
I think there's always a need.
Okay. So groups that want to have a demonstration can contact you?
We would certainly entertain doing one anytime for anybody.
Good to know. Were any problems reported with the new machines during the primary?
Just a few minor glitches, no more than you have with any equipment.
Maybe such as?
I think we had one machine that the screen got out of alignment, and it was just a matter of shutting it down and starting it back up, just like booting up a computer, and it came back up and worked correctly.
Ballots jamming, not any big issue with
No,
there,
none
issue
at all. The new equipment actually printed a ballot where a voter could look at it before they actually cast that ballot. And the scanner that received that ballot, we had no problems with.
Very good. When will candidates draw for ballot positions in the upcoming general election? November 8th, I think?
November 8th is the election, and on the 29th of August would be ballot draw.
And that will be here?
That will be here. Normally it would be the 28th.
Deck a card, bridge rules?
According to the law, it would be the 28th, but that's a Sunday, so the following Monday is the 29th of August, and that would be the ballot draw here. And we will announce that certainly in the paper and on our website whenever it's confirmed as to what time. Usually it's at noon, so I would say it would be on noon on the 29th.
Okay. And when will general election sample ballots be available? Online?
Normally,
otherwise?
normally it's about 60 days prior to the election. So if we do ballot draw on the 29th, within a week to 10 days, the ballot will be produced, and the sample ballots will be available online.
And we'll get to that after a couple more questions.
Okay.
But there's a place to go to that's very convenient to get a sample
Great.
ballot. We'll talk about that. There is a lot of drama going on right now with the presidential race.
Okay.
And there's been talk, and there continues to be talk, of the possibility of a third party or an independent challenged by either one of the existing candidates or someone else that parachutes in and becomes a candidate for some group on short notice. And I had wondered how that was possible to get on the ballot at so late a date when, for all the other offices, we've had a requirement for filing way back before the primary.
The rules for the presidential election are a lot different, or not a lot different, but are different from state elections or local or county elections. The presidential election process, for an independent to get on the ballot, it only takes 1,000 signatures on a petition, and that petition has to be filed with the Secretary of State the first Monday in August. And the Secretary of State has 10 days, I think, to confirm all those signatures, and then they get put on the ballot.
And I take it that's 1,000 signatures by registered voters from
Registered
anywhere in the
voters
whole state
in the
of
state of
Arkansas?
Arkansas, and it would have to be certified by the Secretary of State prior to the August 29th ballot draw. So we could get that person on the ballot. But yes, it is possible.
Quite a low threshold to get on the
Very-
ballot.
very
in
low.
that way. And so anyone out there that wants to maybe run for president,
You could do that.
they can, anybody can just, not too hard. Okay. This year, well, this Monday night, there was a vote by the Garland County Quorum Court. Majority voted in favor of putting something on the ballot for June 28th, I believe.
Correct.
And can you tell about that?
It'd be a special election to continue the 5/8 cents sales tax that's currently being imposed to build the jail, which I think will expire next summer sometime, and they would want to use that money for road projects, primarily extending the King Expressway out into the 5 and 7 junction near Hot Springs Village.
Okay, so if that could technically be said to have sunset, it's not going to stay down below the horizon very long if that's passed. It'll be right back up again.
Correct. And that election will be on June 28th. We will have we'll have all of our normal locations and early voting locations open. Special elections only have 1 week of early voting as opposed to 2 weeks for a general election or a primary.
Which transitions very nicely to there's a really excellent place that people can learn to go to for information about our local elections. And
True.
you've got banners out on the fence outside, and you're spreading the word.
We established a website basically to educate voters. There's so much that is confusing about the election process, and one is the law. This law book is just about elections, so it's very confusing. And to make sure that we adhere to the law and that we get information out as smoothly as possible, we created a website. It's garlandcountyvote.org, and we post sample ballots, we post locations and pictures of voting locations, times, dates. Any information we think will help is posted out there.
Yeah, and you may have changed the layout for the current time, but I had people come to me in my office in person and ask for help in getting a sample ballot, and I said, well, I happen to know a site to go to where that's just really easy, and pull it right up, and you had a button right in the middle of the screen
Right.
to click to get your sample ballot and put in your
And currently it has the results from the March 1st primary is right on the front page. But there's also, under the voter information tab, a place, and it's a link to the Secretary of State's website. And as soon as that ballot becomes available online, you can put in your information, and the specific ballot for your precinct will pop up.
So, GarlandCountyVote.org is that site.
Correct.
GarlandCountyVote.org.
Remember
And,
that.
I was impressed looking at that myself.
Well, thank you.
And in addition to bragging about your website, I'm going to give you an opportunity, if you care to brag about your fellow commissioners and your staff.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, this is a unwelcomed task for a lot of people. We have an excellent staff. We have 2 additional commissioners, Dennis Bosch and Jenna Watson. We have an executive secretary, Sandra Mallory, that really does the day-to-day stuff for us. We have 2 technicians that work on the equipment and deliver the equipment, make sure everything is set up. Nate Robinson and Willie Plummer. We've got 194 currently poll workers or election officials, and we're always in need of more. You can go to this same website and find an application and information on how to become a poll worker. Now, poll workers have to be trained by certified trainers, which all 3 commissioners are certified trainers. So we can certainly train people, and we just have a good group of people out there working for us.
2 more things that I don't have on my
Okay.
cheat notes here. One is, what else is on the election calendar this year?
Okay. We have, of course, the special election, which is June 28th. We'll have the annual school election, second Tuesday in September, and the general election, November 8th. And if there's a runoff, it's 3 weeks later.
And I had heard talk of the city of Fountain Lake was looking at doing a change in their category of city.
Sure. They're talking about becoming a city of the 2nd class, which requires a vote. First obstacle, they had to get above 500 population, and they are just barely above 500 population. But the last I talked to the mayor, they're planning on doing that in conjunction with the November general election.
Okay, not in the special election.
Not in the special election. No.
Okay. And one final thing, I really like your dress code.
There's something good about a Hawaiian shirt. It makes you smile.
All right, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Clay.